For them, it doesn't work. But with you, it's different. Look at the lone ninja dancing fire in front of you. The remaining students on the team were sprayed. The glue stood stiffly all at once, unable to get in. The system is constantly flooded with notifications. You have completed the test. Without any injuries. You have destroyed all enemies. You are awarded extra points because the contribution rate is 100. At this time, level 2 is also opened. What is summoned is the monster the Rose, considered one of the most terrifying creatures of Norse mythology. Following that are the other levels. Until level 10. It was also easy to be wiped out by him alone. There is no longer a single color of garbage left. Li Sui couldn't believe his eyes anymore, but still stubborn. Don't accept everything as real. After the test is over, he immediately went over and asked him, "How did you do it?" "You want me to believe it?" The magician dared to jump into the fight again and single-handedly eliminate the enemy. "How is this?" "Finally, I ended up with a simple sentence. That can't be possible. You definitely cheated. What kind of person can talk so cutely but, please take it." Ninja hunks in a threatening voice. "But no more respect. Don't make me repeat what I said. If you don't believe that, why don't you check it out yourself? Idiot." Lee Soo-hyunk was afraid and his face turned pale, but he was still very angry. At this moment, Kim Suk suddenly walked in from afar. "What's the problem with those two guys?" Interfered midway. But Lee Sui said that, without a tour guide, well, he beat you once. Watching the ninja Hun turn around and prepare to leave, he immediately told them at the Mew Academy Festival, "You and I should have a good fight." Unexpectedly, the ninja Hun directly refused. The main reason was because that day he had a solo bet with someone else already. Every day, Ninja Hun goes to school. They all shine like a 200-watt headlight, causing the principal's faction to pay close attention. That afternoon after the lecture ended, tour guide Kim Seokji immediately led two people to wear gas masks. Go to Gyuzen's place. He always sat in front of the big screen to observe students. As soon as I saw someone, I smiled faintly and said, "Thank you everyone for your hard work. Now tell me the results of the physical exam." Let's see if Kim Seokji will be the first to speak. He said only 3 students got perfect scores. Alhoaeon Cha Io 1 and Ninja Hun. In which case, Ninja Hun's score has gone far beyond the maximum. Like a crazy fan following an idol. Guja, in finished listening, immediately turned to the big screen in front. A place where everywhere is filled with images of Ninja Hun. The man smiled with delight and gave him an order. "Just keep sending reports on your scores and activities. Ninja Smoke me. If he does anything strange, please let me know immediately." An outgoing report said that Ninja Hun completed 10 escape levels. But reality, he had completed the level 27 evasion test. This game is so easy to play. He rubbed his shoulder painfully, thinking at this level, you were able to defeat 6 crank conquerors. The next red item may be a simulator, so you still need to prepare well. In a previous life, a tragedy occurred that left hundreds of students dead. His team also unfortunately encountered that monster, and you are the only one left alive. However, I had to live under scolding, and curses are full of curses. Everyone's spirit. But I can't leave Mew Academy. The only reason why he continued to hang on. It's because you don't want the people who trust you to have to 7. Bong. The ninja finished his nostalgia and left the store, along with the question, will things be different in this life? He wasn't about to give up and live a life as blurred as the previous life, because he felt like he regretted it so much. Enough to finish the theory lesson in class and return home. Prepare for the practice session. Simulated dungeon. Ninja Hun sat on the bed. Start adjusting the mana in the body. Warm up before entering the dungeon. It's a very important thing, no matter how powerful a magician is, because you were taught, if you use high-level magic suddenly, the phenomenon of anti-mana is inevitable. The consequences of that. It is the user's body that will be severely damaged. Those who use more high-level magic. Then it will be easier to get to. His chain pulling and sacrifice skills. Also high-level magic. If not carefully prepared. Then the person was carried to the altar for stitches. Will it be you or a close friend? Suddenly the system board sent to the main quest. It says on it that from now on, when encountering an important event step, made him regret things in the past. Then you have the right to make the same decision as before. Or change in another way. That decision could save lives. But it can also kill people. The choice is completely in your hands. But yuck. Where you only have 12 hours to do it. The moment of entering the simulated dungeon has finally arrived. Tour guide Kim Jong stands in front of the crowd, concentrating, which was announced in this simulated dungeon practice session. We will draw lots, to divide into teams and act together. The ninja Hun stood in the crowd, whispering loudly. But I remind myself that the lottery rule also has two sides to it. If you're lucky, there are strong people on the team. Then they can pass the dungeon easily. But what if it's the opposite? Low-level dumbbells that are gathered in one place. Well, that's really bad luck. That bet must definitely book a revival ticket. Only luck can be saved. Tour guide Kim Jong was still comforting everyone. The monsters in there are all low-level. But according to what you said, experience is low-level of that kitchen. Damn the principal. Apparently some boss-class monsters were mixed in. Then one by one everyone started to step up and draw lots. God has mercy. How can I let Saint Fa? What a life to live in the same place as the beautiful Sioina. Not only did I have someone to talk to, still lucky. Teaming up with a strong person makes this bet easier. While the two people were waiting for their next teammate. Then two people from the warrior class walked over. As soon as Min Ja-hun saw them, he was immediately stunned. The girl is Kim Jina and the boy is Park Seonu. They are all teammates who sacrificed their lives to save him. It's such a coincidence that the system sent the quest. And now you know what you have to choose. The ninja frowned, his face clearly showing some discomfort. He doubted. The nanny system has aimed at this from the beginning. That's why the mission was sent at the right time. He let out a sigh. Then pretend like nothing happened and go to greet them. The last couple of sentences. Just ask to discuss today's main issue. Introductions finished. We just think strategically, right? Time passed and we all huddled together. Go to a corner to discuss plans to deal with monsters. Fierce ninja. The team leader role should speak up first. You must remember carefully. No matter what, don't falter. Especially fighters who attack at the vanguard. If that person falters, the entire team will be wiped out. They finished discussing the plan. Tour guide Kim Jong passed by. Each group clapped and gestured. Discussion time is over. We will start dungeon training now. So captains, please step forward. Departure time has arrived. And the life and death battle also begins. Inside the simulated dungeon sparkled with crystals. A girl looked back inside. Too dark and humid. There's also a musty smell. Kim Jo-young is on the same team as Aho Aeon. She and two other teammates were gossiping. Then suddenly felt something dangerous. Aho Aeon was no exception, so he immediately shouted. Something is coming, everyone get into position. As expected, it was as they predicted. Mining wolves began to pour out from everywhere. When he saw that, he said it immediately. They may be weak. But if you concentrate, it will be very difficult to fight. Deputy, end this matter quickly. Having finished speaking, he immediately rushed forward to fight. Aho Aeon holds sword and shield and fights in front, while the vibrating needle stands in the back. Use holy light to shoot towards the monsters. A violent lightning strike has quite a large destructive power. The light flashed brightly, hides the view of mining wolves. With that, Aho Aeon continuously swung his sword. With speed and decisiveness. Help your teammates take down a few monsters. The remaining members also contributed a little. Long-haired girl. Give Hai him skill named Wind. Go to Kim Jo-young. Her part is to gather them together in one place. Next comes strengthening. And turn attacks into active skills. Has a violent name. Final. Just released all the damage balls. Towards the mining wolves. The battle was quite fierce. For first-year students. But fortunately it was resolved. They all just breathed a sigh of relief. Then, suddenly another warrior's face turned very bad. He hugged his neck, unable to breathe. Not long after holding on, he lost his strength and fell to the ground. Other members immediately rushed over to ask. Han Yu-young looked at the person first. The face spoke in question. What is this? Why doesn't anyone talk about Cubos knowing how to use poison? The words just came out of my mouth. Now it's my turn to use the cross-section. Not a drop of blood left. She looked towards the giant creature. You shouldn't appear here and speak in a stuttering voice. It wasn't poison but a large amount of magic. The whole group was sitting at the feet of the big boss. The size of a 2-story house. Ho stared at it and wondered, oh my god, what is the Lord of Combat doing here? Also at that time, the Ninja Hun's team had just entered a room. Look at the black crow symbol painted on the wall. He silently doubted. This place is different from the place he used to know. If Guja print makes it, then it was his appearance. Has become a big variable for him. Ninja Hun suddenly voiced his plan C. We will counterattack after defending. Be careful, child. This will be completely different. With the things we've faced. The rest heard that. Even though he had some doubts, he still entered the defensive formation. Not long after, things really happen. Similar to the Ninja Hun's prophecy. In front of them is the Lord of Combat and several low-level ones are coming together. Everyone was panicking when first encountering this monster. But fortunately Seo Aina regained her composure in time. Should immediately create magic armor to protect 2 points. Team at the front. Barcelon, you quickly performed the provocation skill. Lures low-level monsters to rush towards you. Meanwhile, the ninja immediately took that opportunity to run towards the boss. Then immediately throw a punch. Contains quite a large amount of mana in its belly. A thunderous explosion rang out, causing thick smoke and dust to fly in the air. The Ninja Hun looked worriedly at the boss. But just a second later, he immediately smiled, filled with dissatisfaction with it. Peanuts, I thought there were no unexpected variables. Yet the Battle Lord appeared. With the ability to heal. So worth it. Nanny system. Like, understand users' inner concerns. So immediately explain that. The culprit was identified as Odin's Crow. A special quest named Crow Hunter was sent. There are currently 5 goals. The reward is a counter card. Used to copy and level up. But in return it will cost you your life. Tour guide Kim Jong stood waiting at the side. Not long after, a team ran out. At first she thought it was Min Ja-hun's team. Because I know you are very strong. But I didn't expect it. These students are Al Ho Ian's team. Kim Jo-young ran in front with a panicked look on her face. She spoke quickly to the lecturer standing in front of her. Lecturer Kim Jong. Something happened. And Ho Aeon heard that and immediately went to the lecturer. The pregnant Lady Lord has appeared in the dungeon. She heard that. Immediately call someone for treatment. For members suffering from mana poisoning. Then take the phone and call the principal to notify. My principal is lecturer Kim Jong. There was a Blevel monster in the practice session. Dungeon, please call for support immediately. Because this is an emergency. Hearing that, he calmly replied that I understand. She doesn't need to worry about anything. They'll send a support team right away, just wait there. After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone. But Kim Jong felt uneasy inside. Because it just feels wrong somewhere. Return to the main south to see how things are going. After a while of fighting, they all looked quite struggling. Each person in each corner is out of breath. In mythology, Odin uses 2 crows. One named Hugin holds emotions and thoughts. The other one is called Moon, in which contains memories. Old sect. They collect all kinds of knowledge in the world. Aim to rule Afghanistan. Ninja Hun quickly understood the problem. He stood facing it and asked directly, "You're following Ordina's orders." Now he turned to the others and gave instructions. "Let's run out of the dungeon. When I hold it off. Must hurry." Park Seon-yu initially refused to leave. But as soon as I saw him, he became a saint. Tien defeated the monsters behind him. Then he was stunned and speechless. The ninja was so angry that he shouted to be quiet and ran away immediately. "I can't fight and protect you guys at the same time." In a moment of carelessness because he was concerned about his teammates. Then the boss suddenly appeared. Hold the wooden pencil in your hand towards the ninja. Standing at that moment. Luckily Seo-ina is on the side. Timely use magic armor to block it. Just helped him avoid the sneak attack just now. After the support screen, she was calm. Look at the person opposite you with extremely determined eyes. Then say firmly, "I can help." People who get things done don't need to say much. Ninja Hun saw that and nodded. Immediately after that, he turned towards the other two members and asked them to leave. Once again, Park Seon-yu and Kim Jina find the situation tense. Then don't linger long. They said they would run away. Notify the instructor and call support. So try to hold out as long as possible. Now there are only two people left to fight the boss. Capable of self-healing. Ninja Hun just told Seo-ina to cover for him. Then, she immediately turned her summoning wand into a sword. Just one of her attacks is powerful enough. Passed through many mining wolves. Now hands free. The Ninja Hun immediately used his speed to approach the boss. While avoiding attacks. Realized in time. There's some bastard controlling it. And absorbed an amount of mana that exceeded the limit. His right arm swung out. Also equip the Tan Mistin item. To activate spy magic. And thanks to that. To discover. Movement of energy from the user of mana. Just a few seconds later, the trick was exposed. The crow stands behind and manipulates her lord. Biden was discovered. He gave a cruel smile and said he saw you. The boss doesn't seem to have realized anything yet. It swung the barbed lead in its hand high. At the same time, Odin's left eye is used to explode mana. Makes Minja Hoon's whole body glow. Logic wrapped around his body. Just looking at it is enough to know how bloody the battle is. Minja Hoon Said. I guarantee you will be torn to pieces. Far away, far up in the sky. Odin sat in a large chair. Talk to your loyal servants. What's wrong, Eugene? The person called Eugene heard the question and spoke up. I found a sign of dissolved mistin. Something that has disappeared from the divine storage. It seems to be on Earth with the enemy. It was prophesied. The other gods began to question that. Who is that person, the gray-haired old man Mimia or someone else? Because of an anonymous person, everyone was in chaos. Odin stroked his beard. Then ordered the person kneeling down in the hall to investigate. See enemies of prophecy. Contacted anti-Acer people. Or not. Because I'm called Eugene, I nodded when I heard that. Head obeys orders. When he raised his face, he accidentally revealed his lifeless eyes. It was as if someone else had manipulated it. Back to the intense battle between Ninja Hun and Odin's crow. Countless lightning bolts rushed forward to attack the boss. However, with that constant regenerative power, the attacks just now were just scratching an itch for him. The battle lord single-handedly broke the lightning chains. One hand swings lead to attack the Hun ninja. He turned around beautifully and said to Seo-ina, standing next to me, Ina, can you help me a little? I need to understand its attacks. The other side of the girl's face was pale and there was no blood left. But I still nodded and said I would try. He was so worried about the monster that he forgot about his teammates. Looking at her face, she was upset. Even if you defeat the boy's lord. So the possibility is high. Seo-ina will also lose her life because she cannot stand the toxins. Just Ninja Hun. Thinking about it, let's end this right away. Because you already have a plan. The battle is reaching its climax. Ninja Hun summoned from the magic circle. A lot of logic comes next to control. Make them aim at the same time. A target then falls. The boss kept swinging his stick in response, and he moved to avoid it, while Seo Aina is behind. Turn on magic armor to support you. Suddenly he remembered Myung Ho's brother's words. There's nothing more painful than dying, because I don't trust my teammates. But now it's different. You will prove his words wrong this time. Blood ferret dose. The ninja jumped up and stood on the chain. Borrow its speed to get close to the enemy. Thanks to the Mistan item, he quickly found a treasure in a dungeon, which Ninja Hun can detect. Movements of mana. From the Lord of K-pop. It just swung its stick at him and then missed. Miza jumped up high to get some distance. Then take it out from the inventory. A mana knife worth 300 bulbs. Purchased by the guild. Apply martial arts learned in previous lives. Ninja Hun decisively struck. Slash a few times in high school. Break the puppet's control. In the end, I still had to swallow my tears. Sacrifice the 300-year-old knife. In exchange for just one line of text. Thread of mana. The link between the Lord of Combat and Odin's Raven has been cut off. The ninja landed on the ground. Not long after, the boss was behind him. Following the momentum, he fell to the ground. Because of loss of control. It doesn't stop there. He continued moving forward. With the attitude of a winner. You said now it's your turn. You came to talk to me, son. The black crow was discovered. It lay on the ground screaming loudly. Can't move.
Ninja Hungría Comas.
Place your foot gently on its head. Then ask what the purpose of Odin is. Instead of answering, the creature lying on the ground called out a crow. Chew a crow. The ninja's face heated up and he stomped on it really hard. Because of the crime of contempt. The crow roared again. But on to the second question. What is the relationship between Odin and Guja-in? Then it crowed again. It's meaningless. If I knew in advance it would be like this. He didn't bother to waste his saliva. Why talk to it? The ninja raised his leg high and then stomped it flat. Rub the crow back to its place of origin. At this time, suddenly came Seo Aina's call from behind. He panicked. Tell her not to move or else she will be immediately attacked. I'm just sorry it's too late. It's not just her. But even he is suffering from toxins eroding his body. After the recent unequal battle. However, because he is the main character of this series. So the mana is poisoned. Once again, he was completely purified by the pure mana in his body. All the first crows were hunted. So the system sends a level up. Comes with a healing reward. But that's still not all. Seo Aina, after holding on for a while, now it has fallen, and fell into critical condition, can be carried back to heaven at any time. Just got attached and thought something would happen. But this handicap sees two people sitting and yawning. After taking a nap, Seo Aina opened the information panel and quickly discovered it. Health and mana have both recovered to normal. She knew the Ninja Hun had helped. So as soon as he stood up, he asked, Her lord, Han's been defeated, why haven't you left yet? Ninja Hun doesn't beat around the bush but speaks directly. I waited for you to wake up. I want us to be frank with each other. The girl's face instantly turned as red as an eggplant. What's going on? Is there going to be a sweet scene about to happen? While the two young people were still inside. Outside, the students were arguing loudly. Mrs. Tran Kim Jo-young was so worried about the two of them. My friend should. Continuously loudly questioning Park Seon-yu and Kim Jina. Why were only the two of them able to go out? When everyone was desperate. Because they thought something would happen to them. Then, Hun and Aina walked out of the simulated dungeon gate. Kim Jian couldn't believe his eyes. She kept asking questions in her mind. How could this happen? The patrol said. The two of them definitely won't survive. Because that monster must be at least a level B boss. But on this side, Kim Jo-young hugged his two friends tightly. And cry like you've never cried before. Cry then scream. Done screaming. Don't forget to use your hands to squeeze both people tightly. To express feelings. Speechless. Looking at Park Seon-yu and Kim Jina standing silently. Straw tears. He couldn't bear it. They immediately spoke up to explain and left. In my opinion, I told them to go ask the lecturer for help. So they do not deserve to be blamed or guilty of anything. However, Kim Jo-young still doesn't seem to want to let it go. But ask the two of them back. But how could you guys abandon your teammates like that? Mi Ja-hun understands this feeling very well. In my previous life, the one who ran away was you, that's why I said it. Even if it were me, I would do the same. Don't behave like that anymore. This is done. Recall the previous conversation in the dungeon. At that time, the ninja Hun told her not to tell the story. He is so strong that he can compete with everyone. Just like I don't want anyone else. Discovered his healing ability. Except her. He also added that everything is because of Guja. He's a bastard who treats students like tools. He's completely different. Compared to the construction image. With the public and media. To him, students are useless. Death is not a big deal. After Seo Aina heard it, she immediately understood everything. But she's still very curious. Ask him why he knows that dirty old man. Such a person. Not only that. It seems like I know a lot of things. Which no one knows. Mai Za-hun didn't think this girl was that smart. You intend to brainwash her. But I think the other person is good at magic. Just have a steadfast spirit. So obviously it doesn't work. So we can only say this. Sorry, I can't say more. If I tell you more, you will too. In danger. Can you leave that alone? In real time, seeing the ninja Hun preparing to leave, Seo Aina immediately chased after and asked the ninja Hun back. You really can't say anything. Who knows if this will happen again in the future? He did not answer the question. That said, I trust that she will keep her promise between them. Then he coldly walked away. Because you have completed your mission. The first turn in the main quest. So a reward was sent. It is the golden apple of Eden. As for the evil old principal in the egg. The guy sat on the chair. Begin to complain about the person standing behind you. Tour guide Kim Seokji. You make me disappointed. His henchman's face was wet with sweat. I can only bow my head and apologize for everything. Position. But as soon as he heard the next sentence, he froze. This time I will skip it. But I hate having a useless subordinate. Do you understand? Gia's principal's face wrinkled even more than when he ate chili. He threw a stack of papers on the floor and raised his voice. You must definitely tame the ninja Hun. In the next event. My patience has its limits. Ninja hunks after finishing practice. Then returned to the dormitory. He picked up the fallen items on the ground. But in my head I keep thinking. Before the regression Kim Jo-young died. Hoeon. He hasn't even developed half of his potential yet. We must intervene to change the future. But not with Seo Aina. She can still do well. Without my intervention. Ninja Kiss is afraid that, if you are too intimate with this friend, it will affect the opponent's future. However, the immediate task is, the relationship between Guja-in and Acer must be clarified. The sooner the better. Simulated red hell is just the beginning. In the future. You still have to clash. Lots of dangerous situations too. If not stronger. Then you will be uprooted by those villains. Soon the ninja Hun used the remote to turn on the TV. There's a QA going on there. Among the components of knowledge. Host. Start asking questions of the invited guest. He said. There are many other types of dungeons that are unknown. What kind of things are those? Hearing that, the other person gently pushed his glasses and answered. Just a normal example. You need to kill the boss to pass the level. But with themed dungeons it's different. The biggest difference is, the conqueror cannot leave. When you haven't passed the dungeon quest. Look at those faces not understanding anything. The professor immediately explained a little more clearly. People who want to raid themed dungeons need to become a character in it and complete certain requirements. It is similar to a role-playing game, the reward that the conqueror wants. In this kind of dungeon, they are rare items, also known as hidden items. Now he remembered what he needed to do next. Then he took the apple in his hand. This is an item that many people want to have. Its effects. It slows down the aging process by up to 50 and increase the possibility of permanent recovery. Coming soon is a row-themed dungeon. Will open in Seoul Amusement Park. That's where you can get speed shoes. But T and Phi, Thor's subordinates, used it. They increase dexterity. So a lot of people are scrambling to find it. Even you are the same. The ninja cleaned the apple and took a bite. Let's see how it tastes. The space immediately blossomed. Bright fireworks display. But its taste is no different from normal apples. It's not like you're stuck acting too much. The indexes immediately skyrocketed. Just one bite and the system sends messages continuously. Its effects are truly not ordinary at all. But if only. If it had seeds, you would have planted them right away. What a pity. A few days later. Ninja Hun dresses comfortably. Run alone to the amusement park. The woman standing at the counter just saw him. So let me ask right away, what kind of ticket do you want to buy? He didn't answer that question, but put a black card on the counter. Printed image of Iranwa Guild. Then he replied that I was a ninja Hun. The conqueror came from the Iranian Guild. A themed dungeon will open here later. The next day, the tour guide Kim Ji-ong ran to the dormitory to find him early. However, when he got there, he couldn't meet anyone, but only received news from the dormitory manager. Yesterday he came by and informed me. There's a bit of work to do today. Kim Ji-aon heard that and told the other woman. When will I see Minja Hoon return? Tell him to come meet her. Then just like that, leave immediately. Go outside. Double spy. Kim Jong immediately used the communication device. Call a man named Song Gseo to report the story. She found out the truth. That the person behind the incident was Guja In. The other party heard that and immediately responded. The person responsible for the dungeon practice emulator is Kim Seokria. Now he is probably in a difficult position. Before hanging up, Kim Jong also reported another important thing. That was the Minza Hun practitioner she mentioned. It seems like I'm getting some information as well, related to this bad principal who likes to play the villain. Return to Seoul Amusement Park. The loudspeaker kept sounding warnings that this is an emergency situation. No training required. The guests are still on the premises. Get out quickly. Ninja Hun looked at his phone. I thought it would come in just a few more minutes. Indeed, it was true to the fortune teller's prophecy. The nanny system immediately appeared. New Zealand ruins themed dungeon has appeared. While space is magnetic, from transformation comes the theme of the dungeon. Your job is to find 3 tasks, scatteredly distributed, and complete them within 24 hours. The reward for this business deal is no different. It is the shoes that increase T and Phi's speed. But you're looking forward to it. In my previous life, a self-proclaimed genius with an IQ of 150 cleared this dungeon. However, the mouth harms the body. She was so excited, so bragged a lot about it, leading to being murdered by those who are jealous of her talent. This time the first person to arrive was you. Well, it falls into anyone's hands. In your hands, you thank me. Each piece of negative color begins to take over real space, until it drowns everything. Everything enters the virtual world created by the dungeon. The theme of the entrance has appeared before our eyes. Ninja Hun. Immediately choose to teleport to the specified location. The system displays data loading from 20 to 98. 99, 100 completed. He had his data synchronized by the system to play the character. T and Phi is a warrior. Survive the invasion of the Vin people. Thor is jealous of his feet. T and Phi's agility. So he kidnapped his sister. The quest with the theme of T and Phi's hatred is set. I have to play my role and save my sister. Falling from the sky. If you win, you get the shoes. But on the contrary, if you let the younger sister or the character take a turn, then you turn around too. According to the information he received, T and Phi was one of his servants. The rabbit god holds a hammer. Comes from a mortal background. However, this person turned away. Started hating the Norse gods. Because the invaders worshipped them. Ninja. Hun suddenly remembered the story his mother told him. Looks like this is not the case. While he was still thinking vaguely, then someone yelled at me, T and Phi, wake up. He suddenly opened his eyes and woke up, and then realized I was on a ship. But soon I will steal it, as a means to find my sister. And the brother who just screamed at him is called Frederick. It's the mastermind. Came up with a bold idea. Can send friends to jail. He smiled and stood up. Haven't come to my senses yet. Then the boat suddenly hit hard, causing the crowd to faint. A little bit, I fell into misfortune and still met with misfortune. Went on a boat to rob. In the middle of the road, he was attacked by pirates. So where does this dirt end? A crowd. Carrying shields and weapons, they rushed onto the boat. Ninja Hun didn't understand what was going on. Quickly talk to your new friend, Frederick. He'll leave this to you. Just great like that. Jump over the enemy's boat. Before the bewildered eyes of both the enemy and Fida. One guy pointed at him and then threw back his head and laughed loudly with joy. Hey brother, what were you thinking when you jumped on the enemy ship? In a situation where you should have run away. You idiot, I will kill you right now. The Ninja Hun didn't pay attention to what that person just said. Instead, all attention was focused on the girl. Tied at the base of the pillar. She is identical to the person who cleared this dungeon. But it ended up in someone else's hands. He just asked the question of why she was here. Then the system warns that the person there is the sister of the character T and Phi. Krasva. I am CEO Ahian who possesses a genius mind. Not only that, it's also a person. Great conquest. Anyway, I am a person who possesses talent. Worth being amazed. But why am I here? The saint held his head and told himself. Then scream again. Because I don't understand what just happened to me. There is a 0.6 chance of a dungeon appearing in her place. And the ability to get locked in theme dungeons. Only accounts for a percentage. No number 0.3. Then I got stuck. What a genius like her. It's in that terrible ratio again. CEO Ahian. Ending my Blackasadog biography. Then he started struggling to find a way out. At that moment, she suddenly saw a young man. Hike. Go to a certain area. She thinks she has to stick around and be cool. How did you get kidnapped and appear here? In the role of T and Phi's younger sister. It's truly an ending that hurts her armpit. Go back to the Ninja Hun mentality. He held his head in frustration. Because I didn't expect the appearance of this crazy girl. Some pirates are ahead. Seeing him standing still like that. Then they simultaneously shot arrows to destroy them. The ninja hugged his big anger. Well, immediately turn on the magic armor. Block the name and scream. Why? Am I always surrounded by these unusual people? Why, the glowing punch immediately fell. Blow away a few names. Just in the blink of an eye. He continued punching his face. Another sneak attack. Then he blurted out a green sentence to the rest of the group. Now I don't have time to go all at once. Passed by for a while. Ninja Hun alone. Completed cleaning of all members on the boat. Enemy side. He went straight to the only girl here. Then speak up. You still haven't stopped pretending to sleep. Are you playing the role of Ratva? CEO Ahian smacked his mouth. Then she opened her eyes and looked at him and answered. Having guessed correctly, I guess you are Thgafi. Ninja Hun smiled. Nod. Then he swung his hand and gave a fiery punch to the position next to him. The last girl showed her unpleasant face. Speak directly to the person you just threatened me with. It's in your stomach. She is the best. You should put away those stupid thoughts and be smart. No surprise, old lady. This magical meeting was accompanied by a lot of luck. Made the task easy to complete. The two people were temporarily brought back to the amusement park here. Ask her directly. She said let's see what kind of skills she uses. Seo Ahian scratched his face and replied Athen. The kind that can help me use swordsmanship better. I want lie. It is a rank D skill. It's called basic swordsmanship. Lying too much becomes a habit. Seo and Hyun thought. Those words could fool a ninja Hun. Because there aren't many students who know swordsmanship. She seemed quite satisfied. I intend to use this little trick to take advantage of you. It's a pity that a grain of rice thinks it's a chicken. Ninja Hun. Immediately bring up his swordsmanship experience. Always accelerate awareness. Makes time slow down. And accelerate the user's thinking. Often used in a leader position. Also effective in analysis. And guess your opponent's mind.
Seo Ahyun was exposed.
If you lie, you'll immediately turn pale. Just good. Ninja Hun also doesn't want to carry this debt anymore. And turn yourself into the guy in the Japanese wife story. So stand up and say goodbye to her. Seo Ahyun should be very hasty when he sees this. Ran over and apologized profusely. Boldly say that. I will do everything to prove myself. I don't mean to be a 150 IQ genius like this anymore. The ninja Hun smiled cunningly and said immediately, write a contract. And so she entered into a contract. Most of the benefits belong to you being signed. Before that, he used the dependency included in the brainwashing skill to control her. From now on you won't have to worry about being betrayed, even if she's really bad. The two continued on their way. Look at this strange atmosphere. Sol immediately asked where we were going now. Miza Hyun replied calmly about the haunted house. Well, get there first. Oh God, save me, save me. Seo Ahyun couldn't help but shout out something.
Haunted house?
Just looking at the ninja's cough was enough to know she was scared. Yet when asked, he just ignored it and refused to accept it. He stood in front of the entrance of the haunted house mission. But tell her to come quickly. Okay, even if you don't want to, you also have to go in and get it right. The big 3 mission pack is activated. The two people quickly teleported to the front of a mansion, emitting a strong scent of demonic aura. The instructions require you to exit this place, without violating the 3 regulations. Although the skill will be temporarily locked. Before entering, Ninja Hun turned to Sol, then asked what her identity was. Hearing that, the other party immediately responded. Obviously the cameraman. What about you? Different from her. Minjahu says he has a more interesting identity. That's a streamer. Specializes in sharing horror-themed videos. It's been a while since we've had guests. Hello to you too.
A cold voice kame.
With that, it was the unexpected appearance of a big man. The opponent looked at them with a shy expression. Ma had nothing to describe and said he was Alfred, the mansion's butler. Also a servant to Countess Frande. This middle-aged man just appeared. Then, the system immediately sends the entire content of the task. Says on it, they need to use cameras to expose the mansion's secrets. And escape. The reward will be a new skill called illusion. But if 7 fails, it's the same. It is using the network to pay the price. Butler Alfred raised his hand to open the gate. Always say yes. The Countess ordered them to be welcomed and brought to dine. He kept talking calmly, while Seo Ahian was trembling. I didn't dare to interrupt and say a word. Both are brought inside. She just arrived not long ago. Immediately stopped in front of a large portrait photo. Butler Alfred also did not hide anything. He said, that is the portrait of the mansion's owner. An adorable dog. That's Shin's name. I just heard the ninja praising the Countess for loving the past. Immediately switch back to the ghost interface. Yes, she has a lot of memories. Happy like in a dream. Please come this way. After speaking, he turned away. And their destination is the dining room. Everything is fully prepared. Alfred did not go in but stood right at the door. He spoke quickly. This is the party that Countess Flamia prepared for the two of you. Please enjoy and I'll be back when you two have finished eating. The door just closed. Sol immediately suggested not to touch it. Some dishes can be eaten once in this life. Instead, collect 10 data from around. Now is the time to put her to work. Sol stood still. Start using the cognitive acceleration skill to evaluate everything in the room. Not long after, there was an answer. She excitedly ran over near Ninja Hun and tell him, the owner of this mansion, a child about 12 years old, from the low-size widgets available here, plus an estimate of the opponent's height. Then I'm 90 sure about what I said. Ninja Hun also found her words to be very reasonable. Just when they were preparing, take advantage of the time the housekeeper is not here to find more clues. Then discovered the door was locked from the outside, while two people are struggling inside. The real world is quite chaotic. It's been 2 hours since the theme dungeon appeared. A bunch of reporters and government people immediately came to report the situation.